Hi guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show podcast. Hello if you're new. So today's episode is going to be a review of Too Hot to Handle Season 1 Episode 5. So at the beginning of the episode, we are following on from the situation of last episode. I didn't mention it in the last podcast, but obviously in the last episode they had that green light situation where couples with genuine connections were given a limited time to have amnesty from the rules. So obviously Sharon and Rhonda are together now. They've been given a private suite by the producers. I guess if you watched my prior podcast, you already know how I feel about this. I'm not entirely sold on Sharon and Rhonda, and I kind of feel like the producers have set them up like together, because in terms of the whole green light situation, suddenly Sharon was going from Rhonda's so hot I can't resist her body, I'm so horny, to okay, now I want to open up to you, and suddenly now they've been given the green light, they have this connection. I'm sorry, it's just such a quick turnaround that I can't entirely buy it, especially because of the fact of obviously David was pursuing Rhonda and now Sharon felt a type of way about it. Added element of now somebody else wanted Rhonda. Now he sees that somebody else wants her. Now he wants to step up. I definitely feel like the producers wanted them to be together. They wanted her to pick Sharon above David. I just feel like David really didn't have a chance. Of course, David did take a step back. That was voluntary. But I just feel like the producers didn't give David much of a chance. Obviously, they've spent a night in the private suite now. And they've woken up and they keep using suggestive language, suggesting that they may have broken the rules. They're saying, it felt so good. I don't care about the rules. I'm glad that we did it. So I'm thinking there's an 80% chance that they have broken the rules. I guess it was just a thing of how severe was the rule breaking. At that point, I kind of thought, okay, if they have broken the rules, they've probably done the full Monty. And I was just thinking, okay, how much damage is this going to be to the cash flow? I already knew my man Kels, the accountant, was going to be stressed. So, of course, the contestants are speculating what they have done in the room. They're pretty sure that they've broken the rules. Kels is just like, I hope that they haven't. Or he's probably just thinking they have. And he's just hoping that the cash loss is not so severe. Once they come out of the private suite, they go to their boy and respective girl groups to spill the tea about what went down in the private suite. And they both basically allude to the fact that they kissed, how they'd gone into the bathtub, but they didn't do the full Monty. Sharon was basically like how he didn't need to have sex with her and how they are on a deeper connection, all of that stuff. And so I basically thought, well, maybe it's going to be, $3,000, $6,000, depending on how many times they kissed, $9,000 at most, from what they had explained to the group. But what is quite interesting is that nobody seems to be scolding them. They all seem to be like very supportive, like, we totally understand you in the private suite, like it's so great that you had that connection, it's so great that you feel like you didn't need to go all of the way. And I was just thinking, this is actually just making me I feel like if I was there, I would be itching right now. Like, I think I would have sussed that everyone is supporting this rule break, so I would have kept it to myself, but like my face probably would have said anything, because I just feel like it's highly disrespectful for you to come here, tell me you've broken the rules and not be remorseful for it. Because as we speak, the things that I wanted on my shopping list is dwindling because of you. Of course, it's just very funny how people are reacting to different rule breaks. It's okay for others, it's not okay for some. It's just very strange. For me, I would not have been clapping, I wouldn't have been celebrating. I would have been like, I hope it was worth it, bitch. So everybody seems to be on board with this rule break, supportive of it, understanding of it. Kels is in the background though, definitely looking stressed. He's just waiting for the bill. He just wants the band-aid to be ripped off. He wants to know how many more holidays he's lost because of the foolishness. And Haley is my mood. She's just like, I don't really care about this rule break. I'm not happy for them. And there's a thing where like, I don't like you. I don't stand your relationship. So it's just like, you've lost us money, so I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be celebrating for. Hailey, I love me some Hailey. I feel like Hailey would be me. I think Hailey would be me in that house. I feel like with these type of shows, you want to root for relationships. You do. And it was sweet that they didn't feel like they had to go all the way. But this little sweet romance you two were having has cost me money. So I don't know. If you were in that house, would you be cheering for them, celebrating for them? Would you find it sweet? Or would you just be like, bitch, you costed me money? Lana calls them to the living room to reveal the damage. Now, Lana this time says who the perpetrators are, even though everybody knows who the perpetrators are, which again, I'm confused about. Is Lana going to say who the offender is every time? I need some consistency here. But I guess everybody knew who the offenders were, so I guess maybe it did make sense for Lana to say it. But again, consistency. I need a little bit of consistency. So Lana basically says they break the rules, and she listed out the offences of what they did. And what I didn't like is that they kept beeping out what they did. She kept saying she put the beep in the beep, or when you beep and you beep. And I was just like, why would you need to beep it out? Like, we've heard all sorts. Like, I wanted to hear the details, you know? You know, I wanted to hear the details, you know. I wanted to hear all the juicy details, you know. Anybody else want to hear the details? But from all of the beeping, I'm guessing there was some heavy handling. There was some finger business going on. Lana was listing out a lot of offences. And I was just like, okay. So for me, it kind of feels like they were doing something and they decided to stop. And they were like, should we just carry on? And then they decided again. Because I think it's like each interval you get charged. So when she was listing out these offences, I was just like, this is sounding a little bit expansive. And I was like, and now they're not being entirely truthful about what they were doing, because they made it seem like they just made out and they were going to have sex, but then they decided not to. So yeah, a little bit of, you know, yeah, they definitely tried to make it seem like they didn't do as much as they did in the explanation that they gave. But either way, I was just thinking, okay, maybe it's going to be something like 10 grand or something. And then Lana says 16 grand. 16 grand. Ooh, that is a lot of money, 16 grand. I'm sorry. I think at that point, I wouldn't have been able to hold it in. I would have just been like, you fucking selfish bitches. Like, you could have kissed twice and left it at that, yeah. But 16k, and the fact that they're just like, you know what, we did it, you know, we felt that it was right. And then everybody is just cheering. Everybody is cheering them on. Nah, babe. I think if I didn't say anything, I at least would have just stayed quiet and just been boiling in my quietness. 16k. 16k. I mean, 16k in one swoop. 16k. And the fact that they just did so many things. Okay, if you're going to do something, okay, keep it to 2 things, you know, a little kiss and a touch. That would have been what, like, you know, just under 10 grand. And then on top of that, Ron and Rhonda were basically saying, you know, if you feel like you've got that connection in your coupling, then just go for it, do what you want. And I was just thinking, oh, hell no. You better they are actually encouraging people to break the rules. They're giving these people ideas, especially people who don't need the money. Kels is in the back looking stressed. You know, Kels is in the back looking stressed. And like I said, I'm just confused as to why everyone is cheering. They really just must not need the money. People are saying, oh, you know, 70k is still a lot of money. Yeah, it is if you were the only person having it, but we've got to split it between all of you fucking idiots. And then on top of that, Lana is saying, we recognize that, you know, you guys have shown growth in your relationship and you've taken it to the next level. But I'm thinking, why are you even mentioning this, Lana, if this whole growth thing and this whole recognizing the growth doesn't come with a discount? So I'm not sure what that affirming message was. I just kind of feel like people are not taking the money aspect of this show seriously. And the greedy guts in me is just very annoyed. How do you think you would have taken the situation if you were in that house? At that point, I would have just accepted defeat, I think, because at that point, all of the, the more dominant contestants are basically just saying, do what you want, and everyone's cheering. So it's like, I can't, you can try and do patrol and everything, but now there's just too many people to be patrolling. Obviously, Sharon and Rhonda believe that it's justified. They think that's worth the money. I personally don't think what they did was worth 16k, to be honest. But each to their own. They say they don't regret it. And then on top of that, that wasn't the only waste of money that we saw in this episode. Chloe, I already knew Chloe had no interest in Bryce. I already knew there was literally no chemistry there. I really don't know what Chloe is doing. It kind of just feels like she just wants to connect with someone. She wants to be with someone, or it's either that or she knows that her being in a romantic situation is going to get her more screen time, because she's probably looking at Nicole and it's just like, look at Nicole, she's not interacting with anyone, she's getting no screen time, that could never be me. Those are the kind of two reasons why I'm thinking Chloe keeps pursuing people that she knows that she has no interest in. So she decides to kiss Bryce. She asks Bryce to kiss her, and her justification for that, her justification for that was that she wanted to test if they had chemistry. So that's why she kissed him. Now, that is a fair point, testing chemistry by a kiss. But when there's 3k on the line, it is stupid, because let's be real, Chloe, you didn't need to kiss the guy to know that you had no chemistry with him. I think maybe she was just craving a kiss and he was the only guy available, so she just decided to take that opportunity. But I think it was definitely a lapse in judgment there, and I just feel like if you were gonna waste 3k on a kiss, Bryce of all people, really? I'm definitely gonna need Chloe to make some better decisions. So in the episode, we also see that Hailey has pretty much had enough of the whole show, enough of the whole situation. She doesn't seem to be hanging out with Francesca anymore, so it seems that she's like a bit of a loner. It's only really Bryce that has been talking to her, and I suspect Bryce is just trying to pounce on something, because he's just like very sleazy, very desperate. And we did see him kissing somebody blonde in the promo, so maybe they become a thing. But Hailey is just over the situation. She says if there's an elimination, I just feel like she should just enjoy the holiday, enjoy the experience. But I can definitely understand why she's like over the situation. I get people are just acting foolish out here, blowing 16k, people are cheering them. I can understand why she might be over the situation. On top of that, her main bitch Fran is just going back to her loser boyfriend Harry. And on that topic, let's get into the whole Fran, Harry and Kel's adjacent issue. So the show has been alluding to the fact that Fran and Harry are probably going to get back together, and we see Fran say definitely she wants to get back with Harry. She misses him, she thinks about him, blah blah blah, boring business. But before we see Fran/Harry inkling of a reconciliation, we see Harry and Kels having some beef. Now, in the beginning of the episode, we see Kels basically saying how he's a little bit bothered by Fran calling off with him, but he's kind of just like, oh, well, I can get her anytime I want. And I was just a bit confused. I was thinking, the only thing that I can pin it down to is the fact that he probably thinks Fran broke up with him because he didn't break the rules for her, and therefore insinuating if he wanted to break the rules with her, she would want to participate in that. That's what I was kind of thinking. I was just like, just take the loss, Kels, just take the loss. So Harry is now angry about this whole Fran and Kels situation. They did get a little bit steamy, not gonna lie. But see, Harry felt some type of way about Fran's and Kels getting close. Now, Harry is very delusional, and it's very clear that he is very insecure and a toxic person. He was like, Kels has snaked him. He's going to humiliate him in front of the whole group. And he was also like, I want Fran to apologize for doing what she did with Kels. And I was just like, wow, the entitlement, the craziness. And I just feel like none of that is justified because, you know, the type of show that they are on. Charles and Fran are entitled to get to know each other. And secondly, in terms of where they were at in their relationship, yes, they had kind of buried the hatchet, left the door open, but there wasn't really much progress going on, especially on his half. So I don't understand why he is now bothered that she is now entertaining other people when he wasn't entertaining her. So, you know, shit gets boring, you want to try other thing. You're not going to be waiting around for somebody you've known 48, for somebody you've known like less than a week. So I just feel like Harry is definitely very crazy, very entitled and very toxic. And then the whole thing with Kels, again, I just kind of felt like he just felt some type of way. And he's definitely somebody who likes to make other people feel small about themselves, which is a reflection of themselves and their own insecurities. So he decides against publicly shaming Kels. I think he just remembered that Kels is this big muscly guy, so he decided to do it in private. And he just basically calls Kels a snake, says he doesn't respect him. He thought that they were close. He should have had a chat with him. He should have given him a heads up before. And I just kind of feel like Kels, you know, the producers set Kels and Fran up. So technically that wasn't really Kels' fault. On top of that, Harry had not shown any interest after the whole Fran and Harry argument. Most of the stuff that he was saying was in the confessional. So my thing is, if I hardly know you and I'm now going on to your, I guess you could say, ex-partner, I'm not going to go around and say, is it all right that I speak to you while I get to know your ex-partner, even though you guys kind of ended on bad terms and you are acting like you don't like her? It just didn't really make any sense. It was just screamed of entitlement to me. And Kels is basically just like, you know what, the game is the game. I don't have to tell you anything. Fran wanted me and you just can't handle that. Then Harry starts throwing low blows. He's saying, he's saying that he's not attractive, that Fran doesn't find him attractive. And when he started saying things like that, like taking jabs at his physical appearance, it felt very suspect to me because he has made numerous comments about Kels' physical appearance, saying that he's clearer than him. And in my opinion, Kels is the best looking person in the house. So I just kind of feel like this is feeling very micro aggression. Harry is from Australia. I've heard some things about race relations in Australia. And it was just feeling very suspect, very, very suspect. It just stank. It stank of something. At the very least, a micro aggression. But what do you guys think? Do you feel like Harry is a suspect, a little closet? Do you think something's going to come up on Harry's old Twitter? Or do you feel like he already did a clean sweep on his Twitter? Let me know what you guys think. But yeah, so obviously they're just going back and forth. Kels really held his own in that argument. Harry was definitely sweating. It's a shame because we already knew at this point that Fran wanted to be with Harry. But I was definitely backing Kels in spirit. Harry definitely needed to be checked. See, they reconcile after, but I still stand by the fact that I think that Harry is very suspect. Now, before we see Fran going up to Harry, the boys go on this spiritual therapeutic challenge where they all open up about their feelings and they all say the negative things that they feel about themselves. And we see some of them opening up. We see Matthew opening up, saying that he fears love. He fears, disappointing his parents. And you know what? All of that stuff makes a lot of sense with his behavior, his pickiness, his particularness. That all makes a lot of sense. Kels opens up and says that he fears being a failure and he fears being vulnerable. Sharon opens up, says that he has trust issues because he comes from a broken home. Even see him opening up a bit more to Rhonda in this episode. I'm still not entirely sold on their relationship, but it's nice to see him opening up to Rhonda. Harry, he says that he is stubborn and he is very stubborn and he needs to be more forgiving and he needs to stop putting his guard up. And again, all of those things make sense. Whether we'll see him grow up or have progress, like he said in his confessional, I guess we'll have to see. But that whole therapeutic emotional moment with the men in the house was definitely good. I'd love to see more stuff like that in reality TV shows. Yeah, back to Harry and Fran. Fran decides to go up to Harry to kickstart their reconciliation. And when I saw Fran being the one to go up to Harry, I was just rolling my eyes. I was just like, Fran, Miss Temptress, Miss Too Hot to Handle. Really? You going up to Harry? Disappointed. I don't think she should have been the one up to go to Harry, especially since Harry is the one that has been in the wrong this whole time. I feel like Francesca was more than entitled to explore things with Kels, and if Harry had an issue with it, he should have said something instead of just moaning about it. So obviously they have a little talk. Fran basically says that she's still thinking about him and how she only went off with Kels because, you know, she thought that he didn't want anything else to do with her. And, you know, even when she was with him, she was thinking about him. All of that stuff. And I was just like, Fran, Fran, I've lost my respect for you. I've lost my respect. And then Harry is just saying, oh, well, you know, in real life, I would have blocked you and called off the relationship. And, you know, I don't want to look weak. And then it ends on a cliffhanger. And honestly, the cliffhanger was weak because we know they're going to get back together. Like, I don't need to watch the first episode to know that they're going to get back together. I do not stand their relationship. I think Fran definitely can and deserves better than Harry. I don't understand what Harry's appeal is. He's just starting to get annoying now. I did like the villain edit, but now he's just starting to get annoying to me. But but yeah, what do you guys think of Fran and Harry? Do you feel like you are here for the toxic bad romance, or do you just feel like you don't really care about them? So yeah, as I said in my prior podcast, how I'm going to be dishing out these episodes is I'm going to be watching the episode, editing the episode, uploading the episode, and then repeating. I'd strongly recommend subscribing to my channel and putting on my notifications on so you can get the tea as soon as the episode drops. So you might as well subscribe. Till next time, guys. Bye.